Whatley, let's start here because when we talk about the yield adjustments, that's always something to slow down and talk about in detail. And one of the most probably commonly used line items in Xactimate, DMO, BARR, dust control barrier per square foot, had a big change this month. And this will affect everybody in some fashion. If you're doing mitigation repair, you're putting up dust control barriers, there was a change to these line items, DMO bar, HMO bar, TCR bar, WTR bar, whatever you're using containment for, it's changed. So let's take a look at this change here. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Price List Update Summary video series, brought to you by Actionable Insights. You've got Harrison here and Whatley there.
Yo.
We are here to talk about the new line items that came into the Xactimate price list in June of 2021. In fact, there are 20 line items, and we are excited to get into them. Whatley, later this month, June 28th through the 30th, we are actually going to the RIA conference. I am excited. Are you excited?
I'm pumped up. First of all, I haven't been to a conference in 2 years, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's excited to be there. Secondly, for once, we're not actually speaking at the event, so we just get to show up. No particular stress, no slide decks, and do our thing. So I'm excited to get out there to Kissimmee, Florida in the next couple of weeks.
If you are going to the RIA conference in Kissimmee, Florida, June 28th to 30th, let us know in the comments. We would love to stop by, say hi. As Whatley just mentioned, we'll be walking around the whole time.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments of this video, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or wherever you're LinkedIn, Reddit, wherever you're finding us. Go ahead and comment on this video below. Let us know that you're going to be there. We'd love to see you. By the way, we're going to do something new for this month's June 2021 Plus video. The first 30 comments on this video are going to get insider points at getinsights.org. That is our website, and that is our synthetic currency that allows you to redeem insider points for macros, for actionable insights swag. So just by commenting below, you'll be able to hook yourself up with some estimating resources at getinsights.org. Look for Maria Garcia to comment and check your DMs. So first 30 comments, let us know you're an RA or tell us about the new exciting line items in June. But that's one great segue to get into the new line items for June 2021. Boom, we've got 20 of them. On the left side of my screen here, you'll see X1 open with the new June price list. On the right side of my screen, you will see the e-service center link from Xactware that puts out the wall of text around what changes or what line items were added. It is our responsibility or our goal here to go through these line items, talk about how they were built, their components, their yields, and ultimately to talk about purpose and context of these line items. How were they intended to be used when settling claims in property insurance? So starting at the top, we've got new vinyl fence line items. And you'll notice here, each one of these has a 7 to 8 feet high specific description in the line item description. We had line items for vinyl fences for 3 to 4 feet and 5 to 6 feet. And now we've got 7 to 8 feet. So kind of building off of the precedent line items that existed to make sure people have something of the proper height than the 7 to 8 if you're building that kind of vinyl fence. Pretty straightforward. Moving on. Appliance power cord. This is a newer one and a bigger one. I'm going to hit the I button here under Uniprice I to take a look at some of the information here. What does this include? This is a material only line item, no labor, just material for an appliance power cord. It's giving you some quality of the 30 to 50 amp, 3 or 4 prongs. And then the notes here is important. How this line item, this appliance power cord line item is meant to be used. This item is intended to be used in conjunction with electrical appliances in situations where a new appliance does not have a power cord included, or when an appliance power cord may need to be switched or replaced. Installation of the power cord will typically be included with the appliance labor installation cost. Thoughts on that line item, Whatley?
Yeah, long time coming. If you look all over the Insight Sheet database, we have listed an APP MISC line item for what is commonly regarded as a pigtail for appliances because they're not included probably the majority of the time. So this is a great addition to the price list and provides us clarity. You know, you want to stay away from the MISC line items, BID line items, labor only line items, unless you absolutely have no other recourse. And so this just smooths the way, especially in a program environment, being able to settle these claims without hesitation. So I really like this addition.
Love it. Another new section here, an overhead clearance bar. So you've got a normal overhead clearance bar, and then of course your high grade overhead clearance bar. Any thoughts, any context?
Yeah, what's the difference between like an overhead? This is like under a parking garage,
I
guys.
knew you were
Like, what's the
gonna
difference
ask
between like a
this.
high grade one and like a standard grade one? Maybe
Oh,
the
okay.
diameter. Oh, they got it.
We might have includes built-in warning sirens,
Ooh.
flashing lights that activate when the barrier is
Is
bumped.
bumped. Okay, well, that's the answer. Well
Yeah,
done. Okay,
nice.
so yeah, that's the difference. So a bar, just a regular metal bar, 340.
Shouldn't the lights be flashing before they hit it to warn them that they're about to hit it? I mean, I guess reactionary lights, all good.
Yeah, reactionary thoughts from actionable insights.
Yeah. Actionable insights and our counterpart, reactionable thoughts. Here we have loading dock line items. So we've seen a collection of new loading dock line items come out. We saw some roll-up doors come out recently. Here we have loading dock door seals, large, door seal shelter, large. So when you're looking at the item image here, you can take a look at it, and it includes the loading dock door seals and the labor to install. And one of the questions, Whatley, you asked me as we were preparing for this video is when you search for the roll-up doors, here I'll hit enter and go ahead and give me all my line items here and go down to my roll-up doors and hardwares, you will see down here that what it includes is the door, the track, the hardware, and the installation labor in the roll-up door line item. And that does not include the seals. So now there is a new line item here for the loading dock door seals.
But something's wrong. Look at the price structure associated with the door seals. Seals are $1,600 in cases more than the roll up door. What's under the components buildup of this thing?
The loading dock door seal itself is $1,180. They are not cheap. Not cheap in the material section. These loading dock door seals. I mean, the carpenter mechanic here, if you want to talk yields, they're saying they can do a fifth of one of these door seals in an hour, or almost a quarter, 20.23. Yeah. So 23% an hour.
Yeah, it's going to take them almost a work day to get it installed. Yeah, all right. Boy, that's kind of interesting. I'm not 100% sure, guys, that the door seals reconcile with the roll-up doors. I think that's what they're otherwise for. Perhaps we can clarify next month. Absolutely. If the door seals are to reconcile with the roll-up doors. That's my best guess currently. Just the price structures are throwing me off. If you can see how Harrison's going through the roll-up doors, you know, it's rare that you would have seals that would be in excess the dollar amount of the doors themselves. This is akin to how the weather stripping relates to roll-up doors like in a residential environment. But the weather stripping is fairly cheap and it's done by linear footage. This is an unfamiliar pattern that I think warrants additional research.
All right, we'll clarify with the pricing department. Have an update in next month's video. But it would be good to know which loading dock related line items, you know, do these actually apply to? Because you've got guide lights, bumper for loading dock scale, and then you've got your seals for them here. So good to know. Okay, another new line item that came out: slate roofing, the cant strip. So this is, I pulled up an image here to be able to talk about the cant strip in slate roofing here. Anything you want to add here in context to this new wooden cant strip for the slate roofing application?
Yeah, I suppose just if you're doing slate roofing, keep an eye out for that inevitable cant strip. You don't want to omit that. So interesting addition.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Whatley has a long-standing tradition now ongoing, let's say 16 months. In every Price List Update Summary video, Xactimate is cleaning something new. In this month's edition, we are cleaning gun cases. Mm-hmm. You have the classic long gun, mm-hmm. and then the handgun.
Yes.
Light clean, heavy clean, gun case, etc. They always talk about the quality of the clean, interior and exterior. So if you have gun cases that were affected in a fire and need to perform contents cleaning on them, you now have line items to be able to clean the long gun cases and the handgun gun cases.
Yeah, our friends in Montana will appreciate this. This is helpful.
Absolutely. All right, so that's the 20 new line items that came out in June. Let us now jump to line item changes. What changed from May to June here? And I have here on the left side, I have May 2021 price list and line items. And on the right side, I have June 2021 price list. Whatley, let's start here, because when we talk about the yield adjustments, that's always something to slow down and talk about in detail. And one of the most probably commonly used line items in Xactimate, DMO, BARR, dust control barrier per square foot, had a big change this month. And this will affect everybody in some fashion. If you're doing mitigation repair, you're putting up dust control barriers, there was a change to these line items: DMO bar, HMO bar, TCR bar, WTR bar, whatever you're using containment for, it's changed. So let's take a look at this change here. Starting with dust control barrier. I am going to hit the I here for information under unit price, because I want to take a look at the component buildups. In May of 2021, we saw duct tape. Duct tape was the component that was used in these containment barriers, and there's been a change. Now moving forward in June 2021 and forward, it is now preservation tape is the tape that is being used. And if you look at kind of the buildup here in the costs, preservation tape, in our research for this comes in normally, duct tape can come in 180 linear feet per roll. Preservation tape is often coming in at 108 linear feet per roll. So there's less material and it's actually more expensive, which reflects the changes in the costs. Previously,
it's wider, if nothing else.
Yeah,
previously it's almost twice as wide as your average duct tape.
Yeah, 2 inch to 4, 1.88 inch to 4 inch. So you have price per unit used to be about a penny per linear foot. Now it's closer to 8 cents per linear foot. And when you look at the global, like how does this actually change the whole line item here? From May to June went from 70 cents to 78 cents. Please note this is the San Diego price list. So that's an 8-cent change, which is more than 10%. This line item went up by more than 10%. Other line items, HMR, for example, went up by 6 cents. WTR bar, very common line item, went up 6 cents as well, probably closer to like 6-7% overall in the change.
Interesting how you have the calculation as WC. The default variable presumably is WC for default. WTR BAR, but it's not for DMO BARR.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Fun quirks of default calculations. What he's referring to, by the way, is when I enter these line items, these top 3 DMO, HMR, TCR bar all have a default calc of 1, just puts in 1 there for me. But WTR bar, its default calculation is a variable WC, walls and ceilings. Continuing on.
I probably bias the calculation of 1 because rarely are you going to do your entire walls and ceilings with containment.
Unless you're building a new plastic house, which it could be cool.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Maybe I'll make a note to discuss that further in the coming months. All right, additional charge to retrofit exterior door. What changes happen there?
We're still in the yield adjustment changes. So both these additional charge, these add 4 line items for retrofitting an exterior door, the yield changed. And we've talked in our training for years. And if you'd like to learn more about Xactimate with actionable insights, our next class is coming up at the end of July to learn more about yield adjustments and things like this. But we've talked about the inverse relationship between yield and price, right? Yield being productivity, price being price. If something becomes easier to do, productivity goes up, then the price of it goes down. If something becomes harder to do, then the price of it goes up. And that is exemplified here. Previously in May, you could do about half of a retrofit of an exterior door in an hour. As you can see here in June, that's moved down to about 40% of that door in an hour. So,
and that's your direct yield, guys. You have to remember that the actual yield is substantially less, maybe 35% less, because you have to apply the inefficiencies associated with the supporting events, in this case, DOR. And so it reduces it by, say, 35%. Can you show them that real quick, what I'm talking about? Go under the supporting events.
Sure.
Show the inefficiency right there. And then scroll to the right.
Right here in this door category, you have a 43.75% inefficiency.
Wow, that's one of the most favorable out of all the trades.
Or most inefficient.
Like favorable if you're a contractor.
Yeah.
Unfavorable if you're a carrier. But yeah, there's a lot of inefficiency associated with doing door work. And boy, is that true, because that's incorporating like sourcing the building material. How often is it, as a restorer, you getting a left-handed door, or when you need a right-handed door, do you need an outswing door, special order, or an internal swing exterior door, which is more common? There's always like messy stuff as it relates to ordering doors and then fitting said doors. And then how does that mash up with the siding and the stucco?
Yeah.
So interesting that the supporting events are that significant, but it makes sense to me as to why.
So you can see a decrease in yield on both these line items from May to June resulted in a price increase, 324 to 423, 232 to 331. So that's a pretty significant change in yield as Xact's been getting feedback and realizing what are the in the field efficiencies around retrofitting exterior doors.
Yeah, and getting feedback that could be, a top-down feedback where restorers are providing invoices from their dooring subcontractors and showing them the pricing department where deficiencies reside. Although it's seemingly antiquated, guys, pricing at Xactware.com still delivers some of the best results for those that are private training clients. So that is an option. Or this could also be just proactive top-down surveys that the pricing department's performing, where they're reaching out to dooring specialized subcontractors and getting feedback as it relates to their price structures and working that back up into the yield. But it's nice to see that significant of a change kind of comes out of nowhere. But it's good to see that they're tracking that and making the warranted adjustments.
Absolutely. Moving on from yield adjustments, we have additional item information changes. This means no changes to the material components or yields, but things about the line item change. So we need to know what those are. You will see, 10 to 15 appliance line items at the top here. And each one of these appliance line items, all the way down through range mobile home and the washer machine dryer combo, there was a change to the additional item information. Specifically, it's around one of the new line items that came out in June. That new appliance cord line item, right? The material component appliance cord is not included in this electric dryer line item. And what Xact has done here is added a note to the line item that says, if a power cord is needed, see item APPPC, appliance power cord. This is a great change. These are changes that we love to see whenever Xact is adding clarity to the additional item information section to help point people towards the right line item or a sister line item, complementary line item, right? That's always a great addition, because then contractors and adjusters settling claims, it's more clear what the line item includes, doesn't include. If actionable about anything, we want people to enjoy what they do in this industry. So when there's more clarity and less friction, we like those changes. Those things are good. So all of these appliance line items had that same change. Moving down, continuing to the vinyl plank flooring on this trend of point me to complementary line items in additional item information. You will see a new note down here for this vinyl plank flooring that says, if you have a glue down application of vinyl plank flooring, please see line item FCV PLKGD. That is the add for line item for a glue down application of vinyl plank flooring. So again, they are pointing you to the related line items you might need in the additional item information. This is why when we train, we remind people, even if you've been using a line item for 10 years, take a look at the additional item information. Mm-hmm. These things change. They don't just stay the same. And what you thought might be true might not be as true now. So it's important to double check and clarify.
This is what we need for that seal associated with those overhead doors in a commercial environment that we went for. Like, what does that relate to for certain?
That's a good clarification. What line items does this go with? So
got it.
That's something we can request as part of our, our avocation efforts. So let's see here. This test and balance line item, there's two, or at least two of these line items. There's an under 20,000 square foot. This was the over 20,000 square foot, but it didn't actually say it in the line item description. So now Xact has actually updated it. So when you're searching for test and balance HVAC, you'll see in the line item description, over 20,000 square foot, under 20,000 square foot.
Can you search for ATB in the search and see how they both come up on the new price list? Yeah, perfect. So this way the user can see, over 20,000 or under, because before it was unclear what the undefined one was.
Mm-hmm. So, here.
That was a good addition.
You can probably see it here. It's like under 20,000 hot water and I guess over 20,000.
Yeah.
So been updated, more clear. We love clarity. Paint balustrade here. There was a change in the note here. So if you've been using this paint balustrade line item, please note that this item is intended to account for painting the full balustrade, including the balusters, handrail, newel post, etc. So it's possible that people were creating a bunch of line items not knowing what this paint balustrade line item actually included, but Xact clarified this does include the balusters, the handrail, the newel post, etc. So if you're painting, you're painting. Makes sense. Miscellaneous changes, dishwasher reset. Looks like they updated a spelling error in the additional item information. We don't need to get too deep into that one. as well as they added here in the line item description, the up to 6 feet for the vinyl fence post with cap 5x5. So just kind of adding more clarity when you're searching for a line item. What does this include? What's the height of this particular line item?
Yeah. And what's interesting about these vinyl post line items, if you scroll back up to the top, just show them what dropped this.
Back in the normal, the new line items.
Yeah. What dropped this month. So you can estimate your fencing here, your vinyl fence PVC, and you can do it with the post and the lattice, or you can do it just with the post, or you can do it just with the panel only. So just be aware of the difference when you guys are searching through the fencing. And if you intend to include the post with the actual panels, make sure you're including a line item that has both in the components buildup. And the best way to do that is just go into the components buildup and verify that you'd have the warranted building materials.
Well said. Good reminder. All right. So we've talked about the new line items that came out in June. We've talked about line item changes from May to June. We have one final section here, Whatley, and it is time to say farewell. It's not very often that Xactimate actually deletes line items, but occasionally you'll see down here, structural price list items deleted. And we have a bunch of 3-tab 20-year composition shingles. They also deleted material components around these composition shingles, 20-year 3-tab. So obviously I have this in the May price list, these line items here, because they don't exist in June. And when we were looking in June to see what still exists and when it comes to composition shingles, you type in 3-tab here and you'll see a bunch of 25-year line items, 3-tab 25-year, 3-tab 25-year, 3-tab 25. So it looks like we are officially saying goodbye to the 20-year composition shingles line items in Xactimate. Thoughts, feedbacks, farewells.
So it seems as though the composition shingles, like the set standard, is organized around 25 years as opposed to 20 years because building material gets better and more resilient over time. So I think that the price list is just reflecting on what one could buy easily, which would be the 25-year now as opposed to the 20. If you're a pricing department stakeholder, you've got this interesting juxtaposition between sometimes you want to include line items that would allow the adjuster or the estimator to leverage line items that reflected pre-loss condition. But then you also have this other pressure of like, hey, you can't actually buy that thing anymore. So I can't really track it credibly in my price list because I have no way to track the materials too. So one example we run into a lot as restorers is what do we do with plaster? So there is no line item for plaster when you've got lath and plaster or lath and plaster on wood, right? That isn't a line item. There's line item for actually removing that when it's on the wood slats, but there's not actually for installing it. Why? Because no one installs it that way. You use blue board to install your plaster traditionally. Now, so in that particular case, the pricing department is kind of split for which ones they keep, which ones they don't. But this one relates so closely to the material cost, different than plaster, that it just makes sense to bump this to the 25-year, get rid of the 20-year, because I imagine they were having trouble matching it up from an electronic feedback perspective from the data sets that they're querying from Home Depot and Lowe's.
Makes sense. All right. That's what we've got for you in the June 2021 Price List Update Summary video. Reminder, the first 30 meaningful comments on this video, whatever platform you're working on, you guys will get somewhere between $5 to $10 in insider points credit that you can use on macros or Xactimate training or actionable insight swag on getinsights.org. So let us know if you're coming to the RIA conference. Let us know what new line items came out in June that you're excited about, or questions you have, or things that we can do to amplify your voice. That is what we are doing here at Actionable, is amplifying your voice, being a steward of the price list, and doing the best we can to preserve the health of the property insurance ecosystem. With that in mind, Whatley, send them off.
Stay sharp, guys.
Stay sharp. All right. Keep settling claims out there. Thanks for tuning in.